Huh?
Nitaiweza.
Okay. Captain Abdi Mohammed, 16 years in the Kenya Air Force. If I was a resident of Garissa right now, I would be living in fear because of one word, Al-Shabaab. Right? The border is what, 150 kilometers away. We know they're probably amongst us right now. Are your people concerned here? Are they as concerned as the rest of us?
Jeff, definitely. Not only our people, but everybody, and all over the world. Security, particularly by organized groups that go with various names, has been top in the agenda of the world, particularly in quotes, terrorism. Al-Shabaab definitely has identified itself as a very strong agent of terrorism. Perhaps my community here, being close to the common borders with Somalia, and knowing very well the continuous stateless situation in Somalia, these groups are posing not only a threat, but a very serious security problem to the government. And the closer you are to the kitchen, the more you feel the heat. Definitely we are getting our large share of the problem. However, security is very dynamic. And it translates to an all-inclusive kind of a program to address it. I wish also to take this opportunity before I forget to send my salams to our troops who have sacrificed for this nation to allow us to have the peace we have in here, and they are serving in AMSOM in Somalia.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah.
Notwithstanding that, Jeff, the porous border we share with our neighbors has been an issue where very easily to be implemented systems of security, integrated systems of security, have not been formulated by our government to some extent. I may not blame it, because maybe when agent of the government, when security agent of the government perhaps is not having the lateral relation and the coordination in terms of planning with the other one, you will realize there are some gaps and lapses, very serious ones, perhaps maybe serious omissions that take us by surprise. You will realize most of the incidents happen in Nairobi, not in Garissa, where we are so close to the border. And you realize, are these people airborne operatives to land all the way from the skies to Nairobi, carry out maybe insecurity incidents?
Yeah, but Captain, they're probably living amongst you here. They're living amongst the people.
Jeff, well, to the best of my understanding, I believe they don't live amongst ourselves. Perhaps those who live amongst ourselves are maybe a few who are sympathizers. We cannot condemn and address and profile this community I want to represent as their MP to be hosting Al-Shabaab amongst themselves. God forbid, if that is happening, the buck stops to the security agencies who have been employed and deployed to maintain law and order in this region.
Okay, thank you. Hubi Hussein, let me ask you, are people concerned about their security here? Is that a big concern? Because look, I see some policemen with big guns here. Are your people concerned?
Jeff, there is no Kenyan as per today who is not concerned about security, be it Garissa County or any other county in Kenya. Not only Kenya, even beyond Kenya, East Africa, Africa, and the world over. It is because if you talk of Al-Shabaab, Al-Shabaab is a synonym to the youth, and the youth are everywhere. This is a movement. Jeff Koinange could be one of them. You never know.
Hello. Hey.
You never know who is a member.
Yeah, they could be among us here.
They could be among us. They could be in Nairobi. They could be in Kiambu. They could be in Nyeri even. They are everywhere because, as the captain said, incidences are happening more in Garissa, in Nairobi, than in Garissa.
Okay.
In fact, in Garissa, I sleep outside my house because of the condition of the weather, and I don't fear. But in Nairobi, I am always scared because I don't know. The issue is insecurity has been tacked on to Northeastern to marginalize them and to deny them resources. It has always been an issue used by the government, a tool to deny development to the northern Kenya. And I will not accept that insecurity is more in Northeastern or in Garissa constituency as per se. It's more in the other part of Kenya than it is in Garissa. But we are concerned because we are Kenyans.
Ali Korani, youth, like the lady said, represent a huge part of this country's majority, not least of which is Garissa County. What are you going to do? Because unemployment, Al-Shabaab, all these issues are the ones who will draw the youth to that side. What are you going to do if elected governor?
Let me say that, as you say, the majority of our population here are the youth. Over 60 or 65% of the population in this county are young people. And because of past marginalization, we have no industries here. There are no factories to employ. There are no plantations here. There are no major institutions here. There are no corporations here. So these young men and women go to school, they finish school, they come back to their homes, and they just sit there because there's no work. I think it's going to be a responsibility of our county government to ensure that these youth are occupied with gainful employment. And the unemployment among the youth, the challenges the youth are facing, is something which transacts across the whole social structure. Because as you see, these young men in our tradition, we used to get married at 18. But because of unemployment, because of the challenges we have today, young men stay up to 35 these days without getting married, which means that the family structure, the social structure is changing. As you rightfully mentioned, when the youth are in such a situation, then unfortunately they remain candidates for many social evils, including Al-Shabaab. Al-Shabaab is a youth movement in our neighborhood. It wants to recruit, and it is entitled to do things the way it wishes. It's our responsibility to stay away from them as far as we can be. Unfortunately, there's the possibility that when you are unemployed, when your mind is not occupied by any gainful employment, then you can become a candidate for many negative things. I would like to urge the youth not to get tempted, but when we think of the challenges of Al-Shabaab and the security, I think it's the responsibility of the national government to maintain that security.
Mariam Hussein, do you agree?
Yes, I do. I am telling the youth that as much as we are unemployed, as much as we don't have any income, it's not an alternative to go to Al-Shabaab. No situation is permanent. So things might change with maybe governing ourselves and getting the right governor when the devolved government comes. And maybe you will get a solution to your problems. So I am urging my sons, my brothers, not to involve themselves with that movement of the youth, because Al-Shabaab means the youth.
Yeah.
And as much as they are offering a lot of money, because they are calling the boys and giving them a lot of money.
Hold on, wait.
A lot of money to tell them that, they will be paid thousands of dollars and, lavish lifestyles. But we are telling them at least to distance themselves from that movement. Yeah.
Okay, good. I want to talk more about that with all of you after the break. Let's get the questions going. Maswali Munayo, sio? Munazo Maswali, eh? We're going to ask the questions. We're going to keep this debate going because I think it is important and very few people are talking about it anyway, okay? Let's continue. Face the nation from the grounds of Garissa Primary School. Yes, it is hot, it is dusty, and yeah, windy as well. But conversation continues. Don't even think of going away because Face the Nation returns in a moment.